gorgeous, conscientious Capricorns, you gorgeous little goats, you. I would like to say that September's going to be a stellar month for you. However, I don't think you're going to enjoy it very much. Please, I hope I'm very, very wrong. However, like I said, what I do is I don't shuffle and then split the deck and then lay the cards out. I shuffle until the cards jump out, and I ask them, you know, in this case, what does Capricorn need to know for the first week in September? So when that comes out, that's what they need to know. You'll see that in some situations 2 cards have fallen out, so that's what I go with. The top row is the sun, so it's our soul, our spirit, what our purpose is, and what we show the world. It can be the mask we wear. The moon is the hidden, the unconscious, the subconscious, our emotions, and things that we don't show the external world. It can also be things that we aren't aware of. You know, almost a surprise, if you will, from spirit. And the last row is some animal spirit oracle cards, because I ask for some advice for each week. Forgive me if I stop and have a bit of a wipe of my nose, because I have a cold. Not that you really needed to know that, but I thought I'd like to share it with you anyway. So, where are we, Caps? First week starts off with the Queen of Wands. Looking pretty awesome. And because you come straight after Sag, which is a fire sign, this could be people who are close to the cusp, or it could just be the energy you're embodying. In your spirit, in your zone, you are sitting pretty. The Queen of Wands is a very attractive person, and it doesn't have to be a female, it can be a male who's in their feminine energy. And bear in mind, the Wands are pretty masculine in their energy at the best of times. So don't read too much into the gender. So yeah, the week starts off pretty well, you know, literally sunshine and roses, or in this case, sunflowers. Underneath though, this is where it gets a bit, you've got some choppy waters going on, Capricorn, because, hang on, oh, excuse me. I have never seen a reading with so many 3s in it. And I'm not talking about, you know, cards with the number 3. I'm talking about 3 people in it, or 3 circles in it, or I'll show you what I mean. So for the first week in the moon position, you've got 2 3s. You've got the 3 of Wands and the 3 of Cups. Now, in the standard tarot, the 3 of Cups can show celebration or, you know, like a party. Whereas in this one, you've got 3 people, 3 mermaids offering up the cup. And here you've got, in the 3 of Wands, you've got someone who looks to be of a higher rank offering you the crown. So it's almost like you've manifested this. This is what you've wanted, and Wands being master manifestors, you know, it looks to me like this is either what you want in your hearts, this is what you want underneath the mask of having it all, but you feel like you're lacking this. Or it could be that this in your power is what you are manifesting. It could also be what you're afraid of. So we'll just keep going. The advice for this week is the spider spirit, and it talks about making your dreams real. Now, however you feel about spiders, let's just put that aside for a while. I love this in this position because as Capricorn, you are the worker bees. You will head down, bum up, you take responsibility very responsibility is very important to you guys, and you will work hard for what you want. You've got a lot of consistency and patience in working hard to get what you want. And in this card, this is what it means. You know, a spider will just go about creating their web, and then if someone walks through it, they will just keep going and create another one. And that is with the end goal of providing for them and their family. And so this is the advice, and I think it sits beautifully with this, is that if these are your dreams, then make them come true. So the first week is actually quite lovely. The second week gets a bit hairy. It starts with the Knight of Cups coming in. Now, in this deck, I see him as causing a bit of a stir. You know, it's an emotional offer coming in, but I don't think it's what you want. I think you've had that, and it's because it's a knight, it's a bit immature, and it's not very stable. If you look down here, it's pretty choppy. It's not a very stable emotional offer. And I'd say that's what you're moving on from with the Eight of Cups. You're just moving away from that because you are working. And this is a beautiful image of the Eight of Cups because it's not rushed. It's very similar to the way Capricorns tend to do things, and that is just deciding and then doing. There's a lot of moon symbolism as well. So I think it's something that you've known you've wanted to do for a while, but you haven't, I just heard being given permission. But I think it's you haven't given yourself permission to do it. And because you take responsibility so seriously, I think part of the message is to be responsible, not just in society's views of what responsible is. You know, working, house, car, health insurance, and all of that stuff. I think one of the messages is to be responsible for yourself and your well-being and your dreams as well, because responsibility comes in so many different forms, but you are entitled, and not just entitled, but you are born to be responsible for yourself and to look after yourself and treat yourself well and with honesty and integrity. You are valuable. So I think with this part, you are deciding, maybe unconsciously or subconsciously, that you are moving away from this choppy, immature, uncertain, emotional energy onto something that's more for you than doing what everybody else wants you to do. Anyway, let's keep going. In the moon position is the Lovers. Now, here you go again. This card is nothing like standard tarot. You have 3 women standing there. Now, this can be considered the maiden, the mother, and the crone. See it how you will. But is a good depiction of a Capricorn, actually, because he's very grounded, very down to earth, focused on the basics, food and shelter. But he does it with consideration and care. Now, if you look at this card, he's looking at the most decadent woman in the purple. He's not looking at the nudity, and he's not looking at the armored guard, so to speak, the one who's closed off and guarded. He's looking at the woman who's holding the world in her hand, and he sees her as a queen. And with the parallel of the world and his apple, it's a real match of equals, not equals but balance, evening out the scales. And that comes in again further down in the reading. But I think in this position, this is what you're truly after. Now, you could either be in the Queen's shoes and moving on from this flashy knight to wanting someone more real and stable and consistent, or you could be the one doing the offering of the apple and raising your worth instead of going from, where you are and choosing someone who would lower your vibration. You're choosing someone who would raise your vibration. And again, with the purple, that's, the higher chakra colours. So I think this is what you're ultimately wanting in your not hidden thoughts, in your private moments of really being open and honest with yourself about what you truly want and the direction you truly want to go. So the advice for that week, for the second week with this, is to lay a solid foundation. It's a beaver spirit, again, with a worker. I love this. It's so Capricorn. It's ridiculous. Your little worker bees, with the spider spinning the web and the beaver, who is a known worker. So I think, with getting back to laying a solid foundation, you're leaving this uncertainty and very unstable emotional energy, and you're choosing a solid foundation. And with this is very uncertain. That image gives me a real feeling of lust, desire, a very fleeting passion before and all things very superficial. This one I'm getting as very guarded and wary and never allowing you to really truly know them and let you in. This is the stable foundation. Not too flashy, not showing off, but just having a really not aggressive grip on her world, but a solid, calm, supportive grip on her environment and her world. So I think that's basically, with saying laying a solid foundation, I think that's where you're coming from, and that's ultimately what you're working towards, which is beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful that you're coming out of that whole working for other people, and now you're coming into you're working for your own self-worth, which is lovely. And when you lay a solid foundation, if you look here again, there's 3 people. So I'm hoping that some of you can shed a bit of light on where these 3s are coming from. Normally, not even normally, in some ways, it looks third party. It looks like because there's so many images of 3s, you could take it as a third party, but I don't see it that way at all for this reading. I see it as a choice of 3, and not a choice of 3 people or a choice of 3 jobs, a choice of 3 lives for you. Superficial, fleeting, hard and detached and controlling and removed, or really vulnerable and open but still dedicated. So that's the energy I'm picking up from this reading anyway. The third week starts off with some really nice, stable balance, and I think it's a really nice card, because it shows it doesn't show, an authority figure handing out money to the poor. This strikes me as a mother sharing the spoils of her efforts with her children, providing for them so that there is balance and fairness and security in the first week of September for you. There is a bit of juggling. Although, again, in this card, it's very even. The pentacles are very even. In other tarots, they're unbalanced, unsure. It's weighing things up. Do I stay or do I go? Do I pick this way or that way? This job or that job, this person or that person. But in this card, it's almost, which tool do I use? It is exactly, which tool do I use to create the life I want? And I think you've got it made, because if you look at the table, he has gold and jewels, but he also has a hammer and nails. And so it goes all, it runs the gamut of what this person is capable of creating and working with. Now, I like that, because it comes back to the very Capricorn energy of working to get what you want. And the only thing I can see with this is that he's not sure which way to go, because he's not sure what he deserves. And he doesn't realise that it doesn't have to be one or the other. You can work on your self-worth and still exist in the 3D world that we live in. You can choose yourself without being selfish. if that makes sense. I hope that's making sense. And you can do it with balance. You know, you pick your tool depending on where you are at the time, what you're doing at the time, what you need at the time, and what's the best tool for the project. I'm trying to think of an example. You wouldn't pick time management tools to help someone who had who was working in the armed forces, because their time is so regimented and structured. It's already managed. You would pick something, you know, more appropriate for what they're going through than just handing them the same old tool that they've already got. Well, that took a while, so please bear with me. My head's a bit fuzzy at the moment. Anyway, after all of that ramble, I've just looked down at the advice for the 3rd week, and that's another little worker, and that's a squirrel spirit, and it just says believe in yourself. And if you look, there are 3 acorns, and I just think it's so cute because he's holding this one out and looking at us as if to say, in my head, that's what I think I'm worth. And really, I'm standing on this solid foundation because I'm worth so much more. And what I'm not looking at and don't see is the backup I've got. And that's quite often what happens, is we don't realise how much backing we've got and strength propping us up from spirit. So you can believe in yourself, and you don't have to be Capricorns. Perfectionism, it's like, yeah, it's got to be done, and it's got to be done right. This path that we're walking, you don't always get it right. In fact, if you always get it right, then you're not aiming at the level that you should be aiming. You're walking the same path because you know it. Whereas this path, we are meant to trip and stumble and graze our knee and pick ourselves up and learn from that and avoid the rock the next time. So when I say believe in yourself, I mean believe in yourself that it's okay to make mistakes and trip and stumble. It's okay, especially for Capricorns, because they'll just get up and keep going. So don't give yourself such a hard time, Caps. You're good. There's so many endings in the last week. It's ridiculous. It starts off with the 10 of Wands, putting down your burdens, having enough. You've done your work. You are done, tired, putting it down. Underneath the decks, when I've finished, in this deck, you've got the 10 of Swords at the bottom of the deck. At this deck, you've got the 10 of Wands. So you've got 2 lots of 10 of Wands and another 10 of Swords. It's putting down time. All the questioning and the moving and the balancing and the am I, aren't I, can I, can't I, you've done a lot of work, and it's time for you to just sit down. Put it down. There's your home. Look, you can't see it. You've got there. You've got all the way there. It hasn't been easy. It's been quite a trek. But in the last week, This is the week to put it down, to let it go. Put your burdens down. The other card that came out was the Moon card. I love this particular card because the bird is an owl. And owls are notoriously wise. And this is the light of the moon, which is intuition and the subconscious coming out as very, very wise. And you have attained that wisdom by really working with your intuition and your subconscious and your higher power. The underneath that though, the advice is, I'll skip the underneath for now and I'll go straight to the advice, and that is to let it go. And what we're letting go, if you don't want to do this over and over and over again, being Groundhog Day, is to let go of this underneath everything, this thinking. And the devil pops out as, I see him as the puppet master of your thoughts. He's the dirty liar. And here are the fates. These are the 3 fates. And this is being trapped, but being your own jailer in your thoughts and your fears and your anxieties and this compulsive thinking and cycling and circling around and around and around in your head, round and around and around. And what you're not noticing with someone, you know, these very old drawings, but he's not a real happy angel. He's standing there, excuse me, almost impatiently waiting. I keep expecting him to tap his foot. You know, really, we're doing this again? You're really sticking yourself in this position again after you've done all that work, that hard work, and you're really going to listen to him playing his pipe and he's, you know, weaving his bullshit through them? You're really going back there? Do we have to do this again? And I can see him going tap, 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 sigh, rolling the eyes kind of thing. But at the end of the day, when you decide to walk out from your own prison, your own thoughts, he'll be there. He's standing right there. In fact, he's massive. If you look at the size of him, he could just pick you up and lift you out if you asked him. So it's up to you, my little lovelies. You can go round and round in circles. It's Groundhog Day. Or you can let it go, Elsa. Just let it go. And manifest your life. Choose your desires and live in your own skin, not the skin that somebody else wants you to live in. Now that I sound like that frustrated angel there, I would like to end this on a lighter note, my loves. With all these readings, I've been ending with a rebel deck card. And, you know, just for a bit of light, fluffy in your face. Too many. You don't need that much advice after this reading. Yeah. So if you don't like swear words or you want gentle advice, feel free, my loves, to turn it off now. If you want a bit of a giggle and to take things a bit lightly, then hang on, and maybe one card of advice will come out for Capricorn. Hello? Just one. Can we have one, please? Just one. No, just one. Yeah, there we go. Not that, not that, not that. Oh my God. That one was the only one that flipped over. Have a go at that. Time to let go. I can't do that. I can't pull that out. That fell out. You saw it, right? And that's the advice on the back of that card. Move the fuck on. And it kind of has that tone of this angel. Come on, move the fuck on. On we go. Yeah, not standing here putting up with this bullshit anymore. Come on, move on. I can't believe that. I so love that. Look at it. Look. Look at that. Look at that. Yeah, let's do that. Go, Cappies, go. Let go. Move on, and I will talk to you next month. Please let me know how this goes and what you've let go of and what you've moved on from, because I would love to hear from you. All right, my loves, as always, hugs and kisses. Bye.